Hey guys, it's Dylan again with Jowers Technology Solutions. I hope everybody's having a great week. I know down here in South Carolina it's pretty hot, pretty humid, so I hope everybody's doing good. So I've done a few videos so far. I see that my OpenSense video with VLANs and subnets has gotten pretty good bit of hits, and I hope it's helpful. So today I'm going to do a Wazuh server. So to give you an idea of what Wazuh is, I'll click down here and bring up the web page. So it's an open source security platform. So I've been using it a lot for different scenarios. And if you look down at the bottom of the list here, it does all these different things that you can that they offer. And so everywhere from security analytics all the way to container security, I've seen firsthand how the file integrity monitoring works and how the intrusion detection works, and it's great. It's open source. All you gotta do is download it onto a CentOS box or Ubuntu or even Windows for that matter. I've been using it on CentOS. That's the easiest for me. Just coming back from a Linux Plus course, I've learned a lot with it. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and kind of break it down and explain it the way I'm gonna do it. So anyone can go on their website and click on the documentation, and then so you can read through to get started and see how everything works, whatever you want to do. Even the architecture is right here, so you can see how everything fits together. So I'm gonna go ahead and go down to the installation guide and click on the Wazuh server, and this basically throws you right into installing it. So again, I'm going to use a virtual machine that's with CentOS, and right now I have a CentOS box, a Windows box, and then a CentOS box I'm going to put the server on, all in the same subnet. So that way everything's on the same LAN, and we can see how it works that way. So I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into it. I'm going to knock that down, and I'm going to come over here to my actual box. So this right here is going to be the actual server. I'm going to log into it and make sure that it doesn't need anything extra. I'm pretty sure I already updated it all the way. Oh, another thing, so if you want to use DNF, fine. If you want to use Yum, fine. I've been using DNF some too, just to see how it works. But we can go ahead and do a Yum upgrade -Y to make sure there's no upgrades needed. And I believe this one's already fully upgraded. And what I did a minute ago, so another thing is some people are good enough with Linux to use command line. Some people need a GUI, whatever you need to do. So I went ahead and installed the GNOME desktop on here, even though I'm staying in a NIT 3 instead of a NIT 5. So if you want to, I've already installed the GNOME package. So just to give you a quick little glimpse, what you can do is do yum groups install, and then type GNOME desktop. So once you run this command, it's going to go through an entire list of downloading packages, and then it's going to bring you to a point where you can be in the GUI instead. Well, what you're going to have to do is from here, it's going to install the packages and you can reboot. But if you actually want to go to the GUI, you need to type in init 5, and then it's going to come in here and load the GUI for me. So you can make that permanent. I'm not going to do it right now because this is about Wazuh, not about Linux itself. I'm just doing this to show you how to switch between the two. So as soon as this comes up, we're going to go ahead and hop in there, and I'm going to actually open up the web browser in here so I can copy and paste. Waiting to load. Alright, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and fit it to my guest view, and bring up Firefox. And another thing with this is most of this is basically copy and pasting directly from their Wazuh website to the actual command line, or excuse me, to a terminal window. So I'm going to go through the basic crap here, and then next, skip, start, and then it's going to pop up another window, and I'm going to exit out of that. Alright, so here I'm going to go ahead and bring it to the right, and I'm going to open up a terminal window, and then take it to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and do a sudo su and take myself to root, because I'm in a lab environment. I would never log in with root unless you have to, or I would never stay in root unless you have to. But for this, I'm going to go ahead and leave it in there. So I'm going to do Wazuh documentation, and then make sure you do. I'll point this out as well. Make sure you do the latest and greatest. So right here it's on 312. So make sure it's on 312 in this upper right hand corner. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and not blast through it, but I'm just going to get through as quickly as possible because I didn't want this video to be super long. And this is somewhat of a process. Alright, so I'm going to do packages. Alright, so here's the part where you go ahead and import the GPG key and you go ahead and lay out the repo. Alright, if I can double click, there we go. So go ahead and copy, paste. Alright, so now you have the repo. You can double check if you want to do a cat, Etsy, Yum, and I'm tabbing this out, so just bear with me. Wazuh, alright, we know it's there, and right here we see that it is enabled. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. So I've already done this several times, so I'm going to go ahead and copy it, and I'm going to throw I'm going to paste it in there, I'm going to throw a tag Y on there, so that way it doesn't stop and ask me if I can download it or whatever constantly. So once that goes, I'm going to keep scrolling down. Again, I'm going to go ahead and just whip through this, and I'm not worried about checking the status. 9 times out of 10, once it installs, the status is fine. From a troubleshooting perspective, if something doesn't work, that's when I will go back and check on the status of the actual service. So right here we're curling basically the source for the Node.js, and so I went ahead and copied that and wait for the manager to install. And another thing, if you do install this on a server and you want to manage it from somewhere else, then of course you can SSH into the box from another box if you want to. And right here I did I went ahead and installed GNOME Desktop, and excuse me, I installed the GNOME Desktop and I went into a NIT5. That way I can just do a direct copy paste into the server itself. And later on, if you want to do that, if you're experienced enough, then by all means go for it. But for this particular lab, I went ahead and did it this way, so it's for simplicity. Alright, so let's go ahead and paste the curl in there. Alright, so right there in bold it says sudo yum install Node.js, so we're going to do that. If at any point you feel like I'm going a little slow, feel free to skip ahead in the video. Go ahead and copy and paste in the Wazuh API. Again, hit tag Y. Alright, so now that that's done, if you want to, you can go back and check the status. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste in the disable. So this command right here is going to disable the Wazuh repo. That way there's no accidental upgrades. I have plenty of first-hand experience. I'm sure a lot of other people have experience with it too, of accidentally updating something in Linux. If you do end up updating something incidentally, you can break something. So that's why they recommend you to go ahead and disable the repo. So go ahead and do that. And then we'll go ahead and move on. Now we're going to go ahead and install FileBeat, and we're going to go ahead and put in the GPG key and put in the repo for Elasticsearch. Alright, so this is what I mean by that. So right now, Wazuh only works with 7.7.1 or probably any versions before that. They're just very particular about it for some reason, so I just take their word for it and do it their way. Alright, and so now we're going to go ahead and add in the FileBeat configuration file. And then we'll go ahead and change the permissions for that folder so they can be accessed as needed. Same thing with the Wazuh template. Paste it in there, hit enter. And again, make sure you change the folder, the permission so they can access it as needed. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and curl in the Wazuh module for file beat. Alright, so that looks like it all went through correctly. So now what I do is I go ahead and come in here and, oh, wrong one. We want to go file beat. I go look at the YAML file. So usually FileBeat, if you don't import the Wazuh module, FileBeat is actually a pretty long YAML file configuration. The way to verify that is if you just go ahead and cat out the FileBeat YAML file, then you'll see this short version. So that's what you want. So go ahead and do a V or Vim or Nano, whichever one you prefer, and then do FileBeat YAML. And you want to change this to the IP address of your server. And I believe mine was 105, but I'll double check that in a minute. Alright, so this is where you want to leave that, and then you hit escape. And I'm sorry guys, if you're a Linux person, or if you know anything about Linux, bear with me if you don't. If you do, then awesome. So what I did was I opened it up in the text editor, and then I hit insert on the keyboard, and that allows you to edit the text. And make sure it says insert at the bottom left hand corner over here to make sure that you don't screw up the configuration. With YAML files, the configuration has to be pretty accurate or it won't work. Or at least that's my experience with it. So anyway, and once you get in typing in the information, hit escape, and then do a colon right quit like you see at the bottom left hand corner, and hit enter. So that's how you write the configuration and then get out of the file. Alright, so as we go along here, I'm going to continue. And so go ahead and do a system daemon reload. You'll do that a couple more times with Elasticsearch and with Qivana. And then do a system, go ahead and enable the actual service, and then go ahead and start it. Alright, and what you can do, you can do a systemctl status FileBeat, basically what I would have done with the Wazuh manager and API, but this one's a little more important. So right here it says error, so we'll come back to that in a minute. Alright, right here it says, gives you the command to disable the Elasticsearch repo. Don't do it yet because you haven't installed Elasticsearch or Qivana yet. So you can skip that. So from there, click the little lines up there and then go down to installing Elastistack, RPM packages. And again, you already have the repo in there, so you don't need to do it a second time. So go ahead and go down to yum install this, install Elasticsearch, copy it, and then do a right click, paste, and then again hit tac Y, and then it'll go ahead and install that. Elasticsearch and Qivana take a few seconds, so if you want to skip ahead, go for it. While that's taking a second to load, I'm going to go ahead and open up another terminal window and check on the FileBeat service. I'm going to restart it just in case. You don't have to do this, I'm just doing it to see where it's at. And we might have to do some troubleshooting as to why the errors might be there. Okay, so it looks like the connection refused. I haven't added the firewall rules in yet, so we're going to get to that point. So just give me a few minutes and we'll get there. Alright, so from here, go ahead and edit the YAML file for Elasticsearch. And that's going to be v-elasticsearch.yaml. So here's the important thing. So make sure you do only what Wazuh tells you in here because you don't want to screw anything up. Alright, so right here we're just going to do lab-wazuh, and then make sure you point out the IP address for Elasticsearch. I'm going to go ahead and double check that as soon as I get done typing again. I'll change it if I need to. Alright, right here under cluster master nodes, alright, so this is where I'm going to leave it at. Hit escape and then do a right quit. Go ahead and do a systemctl daemon reload. Systemctl, go ahead and enable it as well. and we're going to go ahead and start it. So this is going to take a few seconds for Elasticsearch to start, so just bear with me for a moment. What I'm going to do really quick is go double check my IP address, which I'm 99% sure that it's correct, but we're going to see. IPADDR. Okay, so if you look at number 2 right there, the ENS32, it shows that I have a 100.105, so that's correct. Or else I would have had to go back and change all that and then restart everything. Alright, so it looks like that was pretty quick actually. So we're going to come here and we're going to do a status, and there's another way to check this as well. So right now it's running, good deal. So that means everything worked out correctly. I've already enabled it. So right here we're going to jump down to, this is for FileBeat, the index management. So you want to go ahead and throw that in there so that Elasticsearch is configured correctly for this. Paste it in. Alright, index setup finished. Alright, now here's the other piece that you can do to ensure Elasticsearch is running correctly. Copy the curl command and paste it in. Now change this to the IP address of your actual host. 10.0.100.105. I can type right, 105. Alright, so this is what you want to see in order to know that Elasticsearch is working correctly. As long as you see that, you should be good to go. Alright, so from there we're going to go ahead and continue down. We're going to install Qivana. Alright, and then do attack Y. And Qivana is pretty big, so it's going to take just a minute. Alright guys, so I skipped ahead in the video, but I wanted to pick up here. So the only thing that has happened is I hit the install button, and it took it a few minutes to actually download and install. So from here we're going to pick up, go ahead and highlight CD user share Qivana and copy that over and paste it in. This is just changing your directory, and then you're going to copy over this next command. It's actually going to bring down the plugin for Wazuh. And don't get it confused. One's installing from the URL and one is installing from the package, so just choose one or the other. I usually do the URL. Alright, so that just finished. We're going to go ahead and edit the YAML file for Qivana. Alright, so this is important. Make sure you uncomment your server port and uncomment the server host. So I'm going to go ahead and put 000 in here. That way it's listening on all interfaces. And then go down here to Elasticsearch hosts and uncomment that, and this is once again going to be your Elasticsearch IP address. Alright, then hit escape again, and then right quit at the bottom left. Alright, so here's another piece that that they put in there for heap size. Evidently there was an issue, so they went ahead and added it in there. So just plug it in there, and it'll work correctly. Alright, then go ahead and do the system CTL daemon reload. Go ahead and enable Qivana, and go ahead and turn it on. Alright, so from here, everything should be in place except for the firewall rules, so we're going to go ahead and add those in there as well. So to do that, just do firewall, tag CMD, and then, so the public zone should be the default. You can add it in there if it makes you feel better. I'm going to go ahead and just do add port, and it should work regardless. So let's do that, 5601, let's try that again, 5601/TCP, and then go ahead and add a permanent in there. That way if you reboot the firewall or reload the firewall or reboot the machine, the allow for that port will stay intact. Alright, so we're going to do permanent, and then right here do 9200. Alright, then you want to do a firewall, tag CMD, tag reload. Alright, so from here we should be able to go here to the next web page, and again this is on the server itself, and do 10. numlock. There we go. 10.0.100.105. And now this is going to come up, and you just need to give it a few minutes. And then once you give it a few minutes to fully come up, then you'll refresh, and then it'll bring you straight into Qivana. Alright guys, so I skipped ahead. So the only thing that I did differently here, it took it a few minutes, like I said, to come up, and I'm trying to keep this video as compressed as possible. So all I did was I did reload the firewall right here again. So that shows right there. You just do a system or firewall CMD reload, and then I just click the refresh button. So this right here is the first thing you're going to see. And so at this point, we can give the command line a break, and I'm going to run this through real quick. Alright, so what you can do here, so the most important thing for this with Wazuh is going to this Wazuh applet right here. I don't have a lot of memory invested in this virtual machine, so that's why it's taking a few minutes to actually load up. But you'll see all this right here, check off, and then you may see, okay, there it is, so the default API has been updated. So here's where you want to be, and right here you can look at security events, integrity monitoring, vulnerabilities, and we'll get all that as soon as really quick, so that I can continue on. So what you want to do is hop back over here, and the first thing I want to do before we forget is add in the firewall rules for the actual agents. So I'm going to tab key back up. So right here we're going to do a 1515. This is the port that allows you to connect to the actual server. And then we're also going to do 1514 UDP, so that allows the agent to connect as well. Alright, then we're going to reload this again. Alright, so from here, everything is good except for we got to go through to one other little thing we got to fix, and that's going to be under var osec etc osec.conf. So this is your actual Wazuh manager configuration file. So we're going to run through this really quick just to make sure everything looks good in there. I do have to change a few things that comes default as off. So you want your root check to be not disabled. And the funny thing is some of them use double negative, so watch out for that. We're going to leave OpenScape and KissCat disabled. OS query is going to stay disabled. System inventory is already enabled. And then one thing in here that is disabled by default is the actual vulnerability detector. So we're going to hit insert and turn this on. And then we need to go through here and also enable the actual providers that provide the vulnerabilities. And you can customize this however you want to, but I'm just going to go ahead and enable all of them. File integrity looks good. We're going to leave that the same. And I'll get to this in another video, but there's also the clustering configuration down here that you can cluster multiple Wazuh servers together. But as of right now, that's all we're going to touch, I think. And you can also change how an agent authenticates to an actual server. We're going to do that again at a later time again. So right now it looks good. So let's do escape, right quit, and then we're going to do system CTL and go ahead and restart the manager so that it takes that configuration. Alright, so once this finishes restarting, which it shouldn't take but just a moment, we're going to go ahead and add in the agents for the CentOS box and the Win10 box that I have set up. Alright, so we're going to go over to agents. So right here, it makes it pretty simple for you. So I'm going to click on Red Hat, and then I'm putting the IP address of the server. It's not smart enough to know itself yet, so you got to tell it. Alright, and then it's going to actually give you the command line to copy and paste into your box. So we're going to copy that, and I'm going to see if it'll let me paste over between VMs, and we'll see if that works. Oh, it's not going to let me. Okay, here, as I went ahead and SS agents into it as well. I really didn't have to do that, but if we need to do anything from the command line, we can do it that way. But what I'm really going to do is come in here to the web browser and then browse to it as well. So this, whenever you actually browse directly to it from we'll call it a client machine, then you can actually copy and paste it from the web browser itself. I should have added more memory to the virtual machine and gave it a better JVM heap. But anyway, so same thing, you're just going to go over to agents and then Red Hat, type in the IP address. And then so now you can actually copy and paste it directly into the client machine. I'm not going to mess myself up here, so go ahead and exit out of that and then paste it, because we were still SSH'd into the actual server, and we don't want to do that. So go ahead and hit paste there, and then enter, and then put in your password if you're not already root. Alright, so from here it should go ahead and install the Wazuh agent. It should go ahead and give it the correct server address. And then in a minute we'll see it pop up in the Wazuh. I'm going to jump back here to this other box, and then I'm going to show you that it went through correctly. So let's go back to the server itself. Click on agents again. Alright, so we have one active. So all we did was let this agent, oh, where'd it go? Okay. All we did was let this agent finish installing. It said it completed correctly, so now you can just exit out of that, and then you can look at it from here or go back to the server. I'm going to go back to the server and then bring up the web browser again, and you go to Wazuh. So right here you see that it appeared in the actual server. So now anything that's set up as on the Wazuh manager, this will see. So click on the actual client, and from here you can see the security events for that specific client, or you can look at the vulnerabilities or what have you. And so right now it has 70 total logs for this guy, and you can look at everything inside of it. I will go into detail on this later, but I just wanted to let you know that all this stuff right here is available for you to view. And then you can go to management, and you can actually print. So there's a button there that you can hit print reports, and they'll appear in the reporting right here. So all this stuff you can go through, and I'll make another video on the specifics of it, or how to navigate through it better and know what you're looking at. And the only other thing was the vulnerabilities. I wanted to point that out. Okay, so it hasn't scanned it yet, but it will. And once I think it scans every 12 hours. So once it scans, all these vulnerabilities will pop up right here. I wanted to knock out that Windows 10 thing if the mouse doesn't want to come up at the moment. Yeah, it's crazy. The mouse doesn't want to come up. Yeah. Okay, anyway, something's going on with that, but I'll get with that later. So anyway, I wanted to show y'all this. So once y'all have everything installed, once the firewall rules are done and the components are installed, I would recommend go ahead and send this guy back to init 3. You don't need to have your server with a GUI unless you're better with the GUI than with the command line. But go ahead and take this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and CD back to root and go to init 3, and this is gonna take us back to strictly command line. So from here, you've got everything set up. You can manage the actual web GUI from anything that can connect to the server, which right now, anything that can get to the IP address, you can get to that web GUI with, and you can see what's going on with it. But yeah, this is how you set up a Wazuh server, and I was at least able to get CentOS, the CentOS box to see it and be added to it. I'll make another video of Windows 10 doing it. But guys, thank y'all very much. I hope it was helpful. If y'all need anything, or if I can help out with anything, please like it, comment it, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks guys. Y'all have a good one.